Yo, check 1 2 1 2. Check check check. Make sure this is working. 1 2 1 2. All right. Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, killing the coon within me and the coon within you. Trying to get used to this whole live streaming thing, everything like that. I think I pretty much got it figured out now. But I just want to jump on here real quick. I know a lot of you probably ain't gonna see this or whatever. It's cool though. Whoever watches it, I appreciate it. And for those of you that do watch it, go ahead and share this if you would like to. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into this real quick. A little tired, like I said on my last live stream. I'm in the Big Brother Big Sister program, so I do that in the morning every week. So I just got back from seeing my little mentoring these black boys out here in the community. You know what I'm saying? So forgive me if I'm doing a lot of uhs and ums and all that type of stuff. Just you know how it is being an adult sometimes. But anyway, as I'm sure y'all know or y'all been hearing over the past week or so, Cardi B running her damn mouth. This woman done gone on social media and told on herself, talking about not only she would drug some of her boyfriends in the past and then make them have unconsensual sex with transgender people to quote unquote get back at them instead of just, leaving. But then she goes on in another video that surfaced this week about how she used to drug men and then rob them back in her stripper days. She would lure men into hotels, obviously, trying to sell some pussy after work, like a lot of strippers do, right? But instead of having this whole pussy transaction, if you will, she would drug them and I assume wait for them to, oh, look at that. It's 11:11 in the morning. If y'all have seen the movie Us, y'all get the whole 11:11 thing. Great movie, by the way. Check it out. Anyway, drug these men. I'm assuming they would pass out and then she would, take their wallets and whatnot and dip, which this is a known thing in certain communities and whatnot around the country, not even just certain racial communities, but just American communities in general. I know she's from New York, or she lives in New York. I think she was born in DR. I know she's of a Caribbean background and does not identify as a black woman. Which, speaking of that, real quick, this woman also about a year or two ago called black women roaches and monkeys. She called black women roaches and monkeys, and yet to this day, you got black women, specifically black women and black men for that matter, defend this woman over her telling on herself, incriminating herself, saying she used to drug men without their consent, make men have sex with people without their consent, and used to rob people. You got folks defending this woman, saying, oh, well, she didn't have a choice. Oh, she said in her video nobody was helping her. She's the victim in this situation. So let me ask this. If a man were to say this, imagine if Chris Brown were to say something like this, that, oh, before I became a famous, singer, everything like this, I was broke. Nobody was hiring me. You know how hard it is for black men out here to get jobs, whoop-de-whoop. And, women have always kind of liked me and all that stuff, back in high school and everything like this. So, yeah, sometimes I would, talk them into coming to a hotel or whatever the case may be, thinking that they was going to get some. And then I would drug these women, wait for them to pass out, and I rob them. How would y'all feel about that? How is it that Bill Cosby is in jail right now for allegedly drugging women and taking advantage of them? But Cardi B, who admits on social media to drugging men and taking advantage of them. Yes, I understand in one situation it's somebody drugging somebody and taking advantage of them sexually. And then in another situation is them drugging somebody and taking advantage of their wallet. But either way, you are taking advantage of somebody. You are breaking the law. shout out to the two people up in here watching. Appreciate it. This was all unannounced, so I appreciate anybody who's in here checking this out. Leave a comment if you want. Excuse me. But how is it okay in one situation, but then wrong in another? If you are drugging somebody against their will, against their knowledge, and then taking advantage of them financially, sexually, what have you, how is it wrong in one way but okay in another? How is it not sexual assault for saying, hey, ladies, here's how you get back at your boyfriend for cheating or just whatever? You drug him, and then you make transgender person to give him head and do all these other sexual acts while he's drugged up. People are trying to say, oh, she was joking, she was joking. So why is it that when Kevin Hart, who is a comedian, was cracking jokes about homosexuals, that he had to apologize twice, got kicked off of, I believe he was supposed to host the Oscars or one of them shows, which I don't really fuck with the Oscars like that or anything. But don't get me wrong, the black person wins an Oscar and all that stuff. I'm happy for him and whatnot. But at the end of the day, a lot of these award shows don't really fuck with us like that. But the point is, Kevin Hart got kicked from hosting one of these shows, had to apologize twice to the gay community about this, and he's a comedian. Just Hilarious just recently apologized about the stuff that she was saying about I believe it's suit people, sit people. Please forgive me, I'm not that knowledgeable, different backgrounds and religions, but essentially she thought these individual people were Muslim, were like Arab Muslim people because they had on turbans and whatnot. She was in an airplane talking about, oh, they need to be kicked off, all this type of stuff. Being very ignorant, don't get me wrong, but people were coming at her with the quickness. And she's a comedian. So why are these comedians not getting passes for talking, crazy about certain religions and, certain people of an Arab background or, Arab culture or Muslim religion or different religions like this or whatnot? Why, was that not okay? Why is it not okay for Kevin Hart to crack jokes about the homosexual community? Which I'm not saying it wasn't okay for either of these comedians to come at these different demographics. What I'm saying is, why was this not okay? But then she says, hey, ladies, a way to get back at your man is to drug him and have him have non-consensual sex with transgender people. Why is it okay for her to say, oh, nobody was helping me back in the day when I was stripping in New York, where strippers make a lot of money, and New York is one of the most populated cities probably in the world, but definitely at least here in America. Talking about back when she was stripping, nobody would help her, so she just had to drug men and steal from them. Whether or not these men were complicit in a prostitution act, as far as them tricking and meeting her at a hotel to get sex and pay for her. Which the funny thing is, a lot of these folks, men and women, will defend quote unquote sex workers, aka prostitutes, and say that, hey, prostitution is one of the oldest professions in human history, and women and men for that matter should be able to sell pussy and sell dick to whom that wanted, yada yada. Which cool. As long as everybody is safe in those situations, honestly, hey, have at it. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do, fine. Honestly, I don't understand why you would pay for a prostitute to get laid. I mean, just go and get some social skills and talk to some people. But hey, if that's you, that's you. That whatever. Look, as men, we're all paying for it in some way. We're either paying for it financially in some way, whether it's taking women out on dates, whether it's paying for it in our time. Same thing with ladies. Y'all are. It's different for y'all because y'all don't really have to ask to get laid, to have sex with men, but still, I mean, we're all paying for it in some ways, especially men. But at the end of the day, if y'all are, people defending prostitution and prostitutes saying that this should be legalized across the board and yada yada, fine. So if that's the case, then don't say that, oh, well, these men should not be coming forward about what Cardi B said and told on herself about, because then they will be incriminating themselves by saying that they're an accomplice to a criminal act being prostitution, because that is not legal in the state of New York. But my thing is, I'm pretty damn sure these prostitution acts did not play out, seeing as these men were drugged and robbed, unless they had sex first, and then before they could pay her, she was like, "Hey, let's have some drinks," and she put something in there, and they passed out. And she robbed them. I don't know. I would assume it would make more sense for her to lure these men into hotels, offer some drinks or some drugs or whatever first, and then she maybe mixed in some other type of substances in the drugs or in the drinks that they weren't aware of, that were some type of substance that would make them pass out, right? And then once they were passed out, she would pick their pockets. So in that situation, they would not have had an actual transaction as far as the whole prostitution situation. That might have been what they had in mind, but it did not happen. They got drugged without their consent, or at least drugged in a certain way without their consent, and were robbed. Now imagine if some of those same men may have been trying to get a job, or maybe trying to get a new job, whatever, and they have to take a drug test. A lot of jobs, they require you to take a drug test before you can actually start working. Now, they don't. Just imagine you wake up the next day, you don't know what the hell happened. Your wallet's gone. You're calling the police, trying to, or whatever. You say you don't call the police, but you're just, oh shit, I ain't got no money. Like my shit's gone, yada yada. You go to your job interview or whatever, and they're like, hey, you need to take a drug test. Let's say you don't even know you were drugged. You just woke up the next day. You didn't say nothing. You were embarrassed, whatever. You pissed dirty. Now you ain't got a job. Just think about that for a second. Like I said, just imagine if Chris Brown or somebody were to say this. What would people say? Now, I put some links in the description. I don't know if y'all can see it right now during the live stream, but definitely check back after the stream. I'm not going to be on too long. But a man today, or excuse me, yesterday, March 26th, has came out. The first victim. I got the article. It says first victim to speak out about being drugged, raped, and robbed by Cardi B. Right? Of course, this don't want to load up for me. It says the man's name. I don't see the man's name, but essentially, we already have a guy coming out saying that he was drugged by Cardi B and whatnot, right? Now, says here, this is what this man said. I don't know what his name is. I'm not quite seeing where his name's at, but honestly, that's neither here nor there. He says, I was in New York about 5 years ago training, and my trainer suggested that I go to the strip club. Normally, I would have turned him down, but this time I decided to go. So, boom, we go back to the strip club, or excuse me, we go to the strip club and meet Cardi. I'm feeling her and convince her to come back to the room. So, okay, so he taught her into coming back to the hotel because he wants some pussy. Okay, but to the room with me to have a drink. I had been drinking already, so I had to piss. I slid to the bathroom. I come back, finished off my drink. Last thing I remember, she was twerking on me, music blasting. That was it. The next morning, I saw a used condom on the floor, and then I noticed all the cash I had, which was $850. My Louis belt, my iPod Touch was missing. I tried calling her several times, but I soon realized she gave me a Google Voice number. Man, this dude. Not trying to laugh at the victim, but come on, bro. I know she did it, but I couldn't prove it, so I never went to file charges, mainly because I did not want my fiance, at the time, to know what had happened. So I took my L. I can't lie. I was certainly traumatized as a man. You never want to admit you were taken advantage of. No man wants to say me too, says Smith. I guess his name's Smith. I don't know if that's his real name or what. So according to the state of New York, Smith is still within the time frame to press charges according to the statute of limitations. At this time, Smith says he will decline to press charges, that he just wants to move forward with his life. So that's already one person who allegedly was drugged, robbed, and raped by Cardi B said there was a used condom and everything. So I don't know. She maybe slipped some Viagra with whatever she used to make him pass out. So he had, so he was erect while being passed out or whatever. But there you go. General Systems Theory said cancel Cardi B. What she did was dangerous, very dangerous, man. And the thing is, these type of things go on a lot. Like that song "Mona Lisa" by Lil Wayne featuring Kendrick Lamar. These type of things happen, where you will have women who are either working with another man or they're doing this on their own, where they will do things like this to men, and hell, probably other women even. Um, and do these type of things where they're drinking, they're smoking, whatever, and all of a sudden, she's slipping something in your drink. You have no idea. You're down in that shit. You having a good time. You're being hypnotized by the woman's ass or what have you. Next thing you know, you wake up the next day fucked up in the game, not knowing what happens. Regardless if you were the one hollering at her, especially as men, socially and biologically speaking, we're usually the ones to make the first move to holler the girl, hey girl, you should come back to my spot, you should come back to this hotel, wooty woo. But if the woman says, yeah, that's all consensual, that there's no breaking the law, there's nothing against the law for a man to, respectfully come up to a woman and holler at her, and she says, yeah, y'all go back to the spot, wherever that spot may be, and she puts a drug in your drink and you don't know about it, that is against the law. She broke the law. I mean, according to him, technically, it doesn't really sound like, there was any sort of prostitution act going on. I mean, obviously, the man wanted some pussy, but as far as what he told, just going for what, his words, it sounded like he just wanted to kick it with a stripper at a hotel. That's not illegal. What she did, though, is illegal. Putting a drugs in his drink. There's a used condom, so she had sex with him while he was in a incapacitated state, and robbed him of all of his possessions that he had on him. Like I said, there's another link that I have on here to Cardi B talking about getting back at men or her boyfriend. Here, actually, you know what? I got the audio for this. I don't know. Hopefully, this won't get flagged or taken down for this. I mean, I'm assuming this is all fair game and fair use. This is all stuff that she said on social media. This isn't music or anything like that. But just as a disclaimer, I don't own the rights to this. Yada yada. But here's Cardi B talking about drugging men and having them have sex with transgenders without their consent, as well as her talking about drugging men and robbing them. Here's this her words.
I'm gonna take him out. We're gonna get drunk. I'm gonna get him all perked up and everything. We're gonna have a good time. Get him super twisted. Then bring a bitch around. We're gonna have a threesome. And when he wake up, he's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, because the bitch was a tranny. I'm be like, "Yup, we had a threesome with a tranny. Yup, but tranny suck your dick. You don't gotta fuck another nigga to get even, bitch. There's other ways to get. Niggas never forgot, my nigga, the shit that I did to motherfucking survive. Like, I had to go straight. I had to go, oh yeah, you wanna fuck me?
Might be a little hard to hear.
Let's go to this hotel and I drug niggas up and I robbed them. That's what I used to do. Nothing was motherfucking happening to me, my nigga. Nothing. So if y'all bitch some motherfucking said that I don't deserve shit, that's when I know they're fucking thugging.
All right. She's been crying, trying to get sympathy, talking about nobody will help her, all this type of stuff. You see in the first part of the audio, she's talking about drugging men and having them have sex with transgender people to get back at them. Now, she may have been joking about that. I don't know. But like I said earlier about Kevin Hart and Just Hilarious, people like that who were cracking jokes about people of different demographics, whether that be homosexuals or people of, Arab or East Indian backgrounds or people of different religions, what have you. I'll be honest, I didn't really even watch the whole situation with Just Hilarious. I fucks with Just Hilarious. I think that she's a good comedian in my opinion. Some people don't like her, but to my knowledge, from the little bits and pieces of that clip that I've seen, she was cracking some joke about how these folks with turbans should have been kicked off of this airplane. I don't know if they were actually kicked off or not. If they were, that is fucked up. And that don't get me wrong, that is messed up. You shouldn't be joking about, people of certain descents in an airplane talking about they need to be kicked off. Because one, terrorism, airplanes in America, that's a very big situation. That's a very serious situation. It's one thing to be on Twitter or something like that, cracking some jokes versus being in an airport or an airplane talking about, hey, they need to be kicked off. They look like terrorists. I don't know for sure what she said, but just as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that stuff is cool. All I'm saying that these folks are comedians. They were joking. That is a very bad joke, and that's a very serious thing to say, the whole thing with talking about folks in the airport, especially. And it also is insensitive to crack jokes about homosexuals, even though that was a very, very, very old joke that Kevin Hart said on Twitter, as well as I think in one of his old stand-ups like 10 years ago. And he apologized for that a few years ago, and they had to apologize again when folks saw that he was going to host the Oscars or whatever the case may be. Now, my thing is, though, if it is wrong for comedians to say these things, which I agree with, they said is very serious and insensitive, once again, especially the airport thing. If people are going to come at comedians, but then turn around and say, oh, well, what Cardi said about drugging men and making them have sex with transgender people without their consent, she was just playing, she's just joking, ha ha, he. No. Y'all want to cancel Kevin Hart, y'all want to cancel Just Hilarious, y'all want to cancel R. Kelly, which honestly, I'm fine with that. You got these radio stations talking about they ain't playing Michael Jackson's music no more. Granted, I don't know who the hell listens to radio nowadays, but regardless, they're trying to get rid of Michael Jackson's music, which is crazy. The man's dead. You got Bill Cosby in jail for drugging people, right? But here's Cardi B admitting to drugging men, and it's a joke. It's a ha ha. That's what they get. The same woman who called black women monkeys and roaches, but you got folks, black men and women in particular, defending her. And shout out to all the black women that I've seen this week on social media that has not been defending her. I love y'all. But for those of you, black men and women that are defending her, y'all really need to look at yourselves. Seriously. Like I don't understand. These are very, very serious things that she said. Something needs to be done. I'm not saying that she needs to go to jail, but she does need to be held accountable in some way, whether that's giving these men some money or paying the money that she stole, the whole nine. Some of these men might need some therapy, the ones that were full blown sexually assaulted, I don't know. But she does need some type of she does need to deal with this in some type of way. She does need to be held accountable and responsible, in my opinion. But links will be in the description. I'm about to get up on out of here and try to take a quick little nap before I go to work. Like I said, I'm in the Big Brother Big Sisters program, trying to mentor these black boys, black teenagers, and things like this. Very, very important, in my opinion. I don't have any kids of my own, but I do care about these kids out here. So, I'm trying to do my part as much as I can, but at the same time, I still got to make money. I still got to eat. Nobody's helping me like Cardi, nobody's helping me. So, got my full-time job, part-time job, y'all know how it is. But I'm about to get up on out of here. Let me know what y'all think. Shout out to General Systems Theory. Shout out to you. I don't know if that's a guy or girl, but shout out to you, fam. But yeah, it's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, killing the coon within me and the coon within you. I'm out. And stay tuned next week. I got some good stuff coming, but I'm out. Peace.